reveal of the first TVR built in over a decade. The first time a car has been launched at Goodwood. It's the first, as I say, all-new TVR in over a decade. It's also the European launch, the first European launch of the iStream chassis methodology by Goodwood Design. And actually, for me, a personal first of welcoming an Earl to his own court. There are more firsts to come. So, those of you that joined us in London last year at the London Motor Show for the reveal of the first TVR in a decade, will remember it wasn't really a reveal. This is a reveal. We're going to show you when the curtain goes up, a fully functioning, fully drivable, fully trimmed out car. It's not just a show car. So, obviously the journey to here has been interesting, to say the least. 4 years ago we had, to throw away everything that went before and keep the precious DNA, to give mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to a chronically ill British iconic sports car brand. That's quite hard. In fact, some would say it's damn risky. No, we didn't do that though. We held on tightly to everything that went before, including the DNA, but started this new car with a clean sheet of paper. We knew that there would be those cynical who may suggest that our attempts were doomed to failure, particularly in the light of the general issues which the car manufacturers face today, niche car manufacturers generally face, which is reliability, lack of development, finance, etc. But we knew that the car had to be engineered from the ground up, from nose to tail. It had to be an everyday, exceptional, usable British muscle sports car. So, how do you do that? So we sat down and we worked out what it needed to be. And we thought, okay, this is going to be a driver's car, back to a driving experience. A connected car. Connected not by Wi-Fi, I hope you're glad to hear, connected by a clutch, a gearbox, and an engine. That's what we connect. Back to the spirit of driving. So, that means you mustn't have too much electronics. You mustn't let the car take over the driving experience. It has to be you that's driving, but yet the car has to be drivable. Not everybody's a brilliant driver, me included, surprisingly. So, we needed to find people who could help us with this. It meant we didn't want electronics. We needed to go back to good old-fashioned physics. The good Lord gave us something that is extremely cheap. It's very, very reliable. You design it once, you never need to service it, you just use it again and again. It's aerodynamics. So we thought, who do we know? Who do we know that can help us design this ultimate sports car that relies purely on God's grace and everything that makes a sports car back to basics? Well, actually, we knew the man who could do that. So we also needed a bomb-proof powertrain capable of over-delivering performance and noise. So we thought about that for quite a while, and we worked out, who do we know, Bruce, that could actually deliver something like that? And we knew somebody who could do that too. So we assembled our team, the triumvirate, legendary British names, TVR, Goodwood Design, and Cosworth. And then the fun began. A very early job for us was to sit down and define a TVR. Those of you that are TVR fans will know that's an extremely difficult thing through the ages. You look around at all the beautiful cars that are here, and you can tell there's not necessarily an enormous amount of physical attributes that follow through when you look at them. It's more an emotion, more a sense of being. So, however, we had to determine what the specification should be for the car. Actually, it was pretty straightforward. We all sat down in a big room. Gordon stood up at the whiteboard. He penned the perfect chassis. So long, so wide, so tall, 50-50 weight distribution. He said, whatever you do, don't change any of that. Whatever body you put on it, whatever engine you put in it, don't change that, and you'll have a great car. So we didn't. We said, wonderful, and it's got to have a big V8 in it. And Gordon said, okay, but I quite like lightweight. We said, of course, but it has to be noisy. Gordon said, fine, but it must have full ground effect. We said, great, but it must be Cosworth V8 noisy. Righto, said Bruce. Gordon said, settle then. We'll give it a carbon chassis and 400 brake horsepower per ton. And we said, agreed, but one last thing. Above all of that, it must be a TVR. So we're all pretty pleased with ourselves by lunchtime. Then the hard bit started. The journey from that point to now has, for many of us involved, taken all our waking hours. Rather than bore you to death with the detail now, I'll write a book about that one day. For getting us here to this point in time, I'd like to thank a few people. I'm pretty sure I'm probably not going to get the opportunity once the curtain goes up, so you're going to have to bear with me while I bore you just a little bit longer. I'd like to thank my fellow investors. I think you all understand they've got some bravery and foresight. The TVR team for their unfaltering devotion and professionalism. And most importantly, for not letting me drive this car here. So, in particular, I'd like to thank my friend and colleague, TVR CEO, John Chasey, and particularly Matthew Truelove, without whom we would not be here right now. I'd like to thank Gordon and the GMD team for their absolute, and it is absolute, attention to detail. Bruce Woods and the guys at Cosworth for the noise and the magic. I'd like to thank Ken Skates, Cabinet Secretary for the Welsh Government, for giving us a new home. And all of our suppliers, too many to mention. Motul, Eurocar Parts, Avon Tyres, Optimus, for their hard work and technical support. You've no idea how much stuff goes on in the background from these guys. They just know it's inbred, and you cut them in half and it's through and through, tyres, oil, parts. It's amazing. I'd like also to thank the TVR Car Club for their support and for keeping the home fires burning in the wilderness years. Incredibly supportive. I'd also like to thank Lord March for welcoming us to his court and the magnificence that is the Goodwood revival. All of our families and friends for putting up with us endlessly banging on about TVR. But perhaps most of all, you, our loyal customers and supporters. Without you, there is no TVR. So, there are many great sports cars out there that we'll be compared to. But at the end of the day, we are not trying to build anything but a TVR. Fast, exotic, rebellious, unique, hand-built, noisy, and British through and through, from the owners to the engineers. We're not here to simply take a slice of the sports car market. We are here to reclaim what's ours, to restore the order of things. There are many sports car brands out there, but only one TVR. So, we're almost there. Almost time to witness the beauty of the beast. Some of you may well remember some rather questionable TVR launches in the past at Elscourt Motor Show. In the 70s, probably springs to mind. Thank you, Martin. And in the spirit of revival, we are now going to subject you to a few moments of tension and a suitably era-relevant, cheesy lead-in. So, bit of an anticlimax, eh? There it is, the whole story. So what we're going to do now, really, is, unfortunately, we can't just put the barriers down. There's too many people. We've only got one car. And but what we will do is we'll allow people on the stand, bit by bit. I think members of the press might want to have a wander around first, take some photographs. And we'd be delighted to, in limited numbers at a time, we'd be delighted to have you here to see it, to look at it close up. I would ask you not to go up on the podium unless you're with one of us. But by all means, wander around, take photographs, talk to me, but don't criticize anything to get really upset. Okay? It's 4 years, just remember, 4 years of my life. So be positive. But you are witnessing the rebirth of an iconic British marque here. It's magnificent, beautiful in its simplicity. So a few points. Those of you that don't know what ground effect means, you know, it's something very crucial to this car. You need to swap up on that or ask one of us. It's only the second ever production front mid-engined sports car. Mid-engine, I'm sure we all know what it is. The engine's right back behind the front wheels, very low down. The significance of that is the previous production car that was front mid-engine ground effect was Mercedes McLaren SLR, a great car also designed by Goodwood. The completely flat bottom on the car gives exceptional aerodynamics, just like an F1 car. There's nothing in the car that interferes with the airflow, which is why it's got a very dramatic rear diffuser. What that does is it creates an enormous amount of suction under the car, giving you downforce, giving you the car on the road will have superb handling characteristics. The very sleek look of the car, every hole on this car is doing something. All those vents are not just there to look good, although they do look good. They're there working hard, cooling brakes, giving you downforce, preventing lift. You've got a rear spoiler on the back, which does a couple of things for those that don't know. For example, the air coming over the car needs to be unstuck from the car. It's stuck to it. It's a liquid as it goes over its feet. The spoiler kicks it off the back of the car so it doesn't flow down the back and interfere with the clean air coming out the back, causing turbulence. It also gives you an enormous amount of downforce, 400 brake horsepower per ton in a car that's weighing like 1,250 kilos or less. Its nearest competitor, you know, one might think is something like an F-Type Advantage, whatever. An F-Type's 1.8 tons. It's half a ton lighter with a lot more power per ton. So you'll be pleased to know, standing at the lights, if you floor it, you'll stand at the lights, but it'll look great. There'll be smoke, there'll be lots of stuff going on, there'll be noise. Fiestas and Fiat 500s will go pouring past you in droves, but you will look good, I can assure you. Trust me. So, I think I've said enough. We'll let everybody get on. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you all.
Are you staying here? Or are you going over?
I'll probably pop over and have a listen, sure.
To work out how to hurdle the barrier. How do I get past? I want to get a bit close. I can't.
I don't know. You need to ask Les or John, really.
Well, he said it's obviously as being part of the press. It's,
yeah, I know. I'm not authorised to let you through. So,
Dream. So we're just over in the press area at the moment. We need to try and get a bit closer to the front. A couple of guys just behind me here. Where they gone? looking down there, and that's a Gordon Murray design. So they've been very influential when we look at the car. So I'm just going to quickly, while I'm waiting to get over there, flip it round the other way. And this is the engine, 5 litre V8 that's going to go in the car. Now the important bit that you're probably interested in is if I come over here, this is about as close as I'm going to get at the moment. Thanks for that. It's rather difficult to streaming, but the most important thing really is the car, opposed to me. The Griffith. So we're going to shoot through start up the car. We're going to try and get over. It's not easy at the moment, not just as everyone thinks of the car, what do you think of the design? Actually, obviously some keys from the original car, but it's some very industrial things. You work with TVRs, you've got the TVR thing on there. It's saying you can go have a look around if you're with someone, and as you're someone, just live streaming at the moment. So we're attempting to get on the stand. It's going to be a bit easier said than done. Try. So, tell me what you think of the car. Do you think is it completely different to the original TVR? So this is the back. Well, strangely enough, it's got some very, very modern design cues there. I think they did actually say that. It's the Griffith, I do believe. I need to try and see if I can get up there. I need to find someone with relevant permissions to actually allow you up. So let's go around. Press up for the other one. Quality of the lighting, I have no idea who it's any good. Sometime here, this is Goodwood revival, so it's going to be an awful lot of other cars out on track. So I'm not trying to do another live stream at another point, but there'll certainly be plenty more videos. If you just click on that subscribe button somewhere around on the screen, you'll get alerted for all the other videos. There was an interview I did with John Chapman, so you can have a look at what was going on there. So I really need to find someone from TVR. Are you with TVR?
Well, we came with the display models over there.
I'm looking for someone who can show me around up here.
So basically I'm not.
Right.
I mean, I could pretend to be. We could see how far we can wing it.
You've got TVR on your arm. Can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Hopefully you can. car, I really need to find someone from TVR that can have a look. So this new car here, it's incredible. Because that's as close as I can actually get, so let's pan around. No, I don't think I'm covering the mic, it's just incredibly noisy. So that's the inside. A quick look at the wheels. I'm sure we don't get in the way. So there we go, it's the name of the car. That's very, very true. You can go on there, but nothing like seeing it in person. So that's inside. That's about as close as TV crews and everything everywhere. I'm going to fumble around the front of the car. I thought you asked to go back a bit because there's lots of people So I hope you've actually enjoyed that. That's the first look at the car. There's a lot of people looking around at the moment. So like I said, if you click on that subscribe button, comments are working about what do you think of the car, you'll get alerted for any more videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more on here as a revival. As you can see, lots. Also, if you click the share button, show other people, because it's obviously a world exclusive and everyone loves TVR revival of the British brand. So incredible. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. Probably not. Any questions? Flip it back around there, it's supposed to look at me. I guess not. I am going to endeavour to make my way. So, as I said, click on the share button for any enthusiasts out there. You can watch this obviously again. Ah, here we go. So this is the engine I will endeavour to get round the front. It's maybe easier said than done. See you later. Yeah. See you later.
We were being worried you weren't coming back.
Yeah, I want to try and get round the front of the car now. Everyone on live stream wants to see the front of the car. So I'm going to attempt to get around the front of the car. Just going round this way, so if you hang on, I'm just going to go round this way. That's all right. So I was filming around the back. Hopefully you can see that okay. Is that better? Does that give you a good enough view of what you wanted? It's yeah, it's not easy at all to.
Oh, yeah.
As I was saying, it's not easy to actually get around the front of the car. Yeah, it's ridiculously busy. I'm going to call it a day there. Got lots more filming. I think it's time to go back to the media tent in time for a bit of progress. Price-wise, I think, no official numbers there, but I think they said it's starting around 90,000, somewhere around that figure, which seems very, very cheap for 400 brake horsepower per tonne. And I'm not sure whether all the orders have gone, but they're certainly taking all the deposits and everything else like that. Yep, just need a few pennies to get one. It does look incredibly good. What I'm going to do, I've filmed it as well on a half reasonable camera as opposed to doing this on the iPhone, is do another video probably over the next few days and get a lot more detailed shots and everything else. So if you, like I said, click on subscribe, you'll get an alert when all the videos come out. I've got a lot to film this weekend because I am at Goodwood Revival. So I am definitely going to call it a day now. I hope you'd enjoyed that. Like I said, click on share with all you TVR enthusiasts. I think everyone actually is a TVR enthusiast. Everyone loves a British sports car. So I am going to go. Thank you very much for, I don't know if you tune in on YouTube, but whatever you happen to do. Well, thanks, Lant, for sharing that. It's great. I will see everyone later on and try and do another live stream. Thanks for watching.